drawn on this cardboard box what a wicking bed is. So a wicking bed lets water in down to the bottom of the bed, and then this is a rock layer which the whole thing is sealed in here, and there's a layer of rocks which then is covered by a fabric layer, geotech fabric or shade cloth, to stop this topsoil falling through. The concept of it is that the plants can pull the moisture up from below with their root systems using the sun. You can see over here we have an outlet at the top of that rock layer which lets the water go out, and it's really important that that depth of topsoil is a minimum of 300. I'll give you a quick tour of the bed before we get started.
It is something that I knocked up out of second-hand building materials, essentially. Old fence posts and house framing bits, a couple of aggie pipes that we put on to throw a shade cloth over, but I'm also considering making this into a polytunnel for our cooler season here in Australia. On the farm, you can see that we've got the Datsun full of topsoil and the geotech fabric. We've got 44-gallon drums. These are full of aggregate or rocks that will go on the bottom that the water will sit in. This is a black plastic layer which is basically forms the pond. It's like the layer that we put the rocks on top of that and the water in that. This is an old trampoline mat that I'm going to put underneath the black plastic just to protect it from anything, so that it doesn't pierce through. A little bit of old aggie pipe, all pretty much second-hand stuff, folks, and can be pretty easy to come by if you go looking for it. This is what the geotech fabric is. This is pretty old now, so it's getting a little bit perished, but essentially it's just something that lets water through. Anyway, we'll crack into it and see what you think.
Righto, so you can see that there I've just added the trampoline mat at the bottom. I tried to keep my staples about as high as my outlet will be, which is kind of a foot up off the bottom at the moment. And I've also added just a bit of old carpet underlay on the bottom layer. It's now time for us to put in the black plastic layer, which will form the pool for our waterbed. Show you real quick what I've done here. This is the outlet, okay, so this is at the top level of the rocks, hopefully. Push through the hole against the black plastic, and then I'll just tighten this right angle. It's probably not necessary to put the right angle on, like you could just leave it as a thing, but I like that it snugs up against the hardwood there. Alright, so essentially what we're doing here from the bottom up is we're going to add this black aggie drain, which was over by the van earlier, to the bottom with this here, and that'll sit in the bottom of the water. And then to the other end of that right angle I'm going to put this in, and at the top of it I'm going to put this little groovy mesh thing that I picked up at a clearing sale last year. I'm just going to add a little bit of green shade cloth, as you can see back there, and what that's going to do is it's going to assist with the rocks when they hit that plastic. They're not actually sitting on the plastic. Found when we were digging it out that it was really easy to dig out the rocks without damaging the black plastic. So that shade cloth sitting on top of the plastic, and I'm going to put the rocks on top of that. What I'm going to do is actually apply a couple of bricks just to hold down the aggie drain right there. Drain is working as it should be. It's fantastic, and I'm not seeing any other sort of stuff like this, you know. So next step's the aggregate. Got the truck over there rigged up with a barrel already. I'm going to start by putting some of this in by hand. we're back here on day 2. Mabel and I are just about to fill the bed with compost and topsoil now. We've laid the Geotech fabric down. Do you want to show them where that is, Mabes? Yeah, which was just sitting in the back of the Datsun. We've got the Datsun there full of topsoil, and what we're about to do is unload together out of the Datsun and into the bed. And our next part is that we're going to take, just over here, we've got a big groovy bucket of compost, which I'm going to bring the tractor over and dump it into the beds. So we're getting down to the compost layer in the compost that I had going. Now this compost was made purely out of horse manure and love grass, basically, in the dry period that we had. I just went through and picked up a couple of bucket loads of horse manure and love grass all sort of wrapped up together in the paddocks and threw them in a bucket, which is this big steel bucket. I had some potatoes planted in there too, which didn't quite go because I covered them a bit too much. We've got a bit of kikuyu pulling through, but it's pretty good. There's a few things that have turned up in here which you can't compost, folks, just in case you're wondering. So I was just digging out the compost from my tub here into the bucket, and I came across a little bit of gold. That's going straight in the pot tonight. That's my only potato from a $30 bag. Sweet. The bed is full of topsoil. I'm just going to plant it out. You probably could leave it for a day or two to settle before planting it out, but I think I'm just keen to get into it. So Rob and Katie at Karma Farm, got a bunch of seedlings here from those guys. They are awesome. Check them out. They're just out at Kanina there, and I'll throw them in. There we go, Shaz. What do you reckon?
Well, yeah, I'm impressed. Now you've got to build a couple for me.
So we've got the seedlings in. I'm going to give them a quick sprinkle with some water, and then after that I'll show you how we fill up the bed. Fill up on the inlet, and when the bed is full, we should see a little bit of something coming out the outlet. Like now. You can see there